Oh wait, do we? Yeah, no, I was late to that one. My bad. Yeah, no, it was definitely lagging on my part. I was like a few seconds behind, but finally back. Welcome back to 94 Feet, ladies and gentlemen. Kade Cameron, Danny Stepanovich, as usual. Again, it might be one of those technical difficulty episodes. We'll have to see how things go. But what can you say? That's what you're doing when you're dealing with apartment Wi-Fi. Let's start off, Danny. Danny, how's everything going with you?
Going good, Kate. TCU just blew a nice lead, and I was on them. But Gonzaga UCLA Thursday. I can't wait for that matchup. I'm doing good. Had a great weekend of college hoops. Bracket is shot, as is everyone's. How you doing though, Kate?
Same thing, bracket shot. What can you expect? I think I got to take for a little bit later, but just in general, yeah, I'm doing good. A good weekend. I think I got a little bit sick over the weekend, but nothing too crazy there. Other than that, tried making it as chill as possible. But to go into what we're talking about for the show, obviously we're going to do a little March Madness update. Nothing too crazy there. Just talking about maybe some of those big upsets, talking about a bracket, all that stuff. Give you guys a heads up on who's winning the bracket challenge so far. We'll talk about Dillon Brooks a little bit. Had that $35,000 suspension. He's had a lot of troubles this year in general. So kind of get into base about that. And of course, with teams starting to get clinch for the playoffs, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the pretenders and contenders for the three teams that have clinched so far. Obviously, we'll come around with fit of the week, and we might do a fashion segment at the end, just seeing where we're at with time. But like I said, we'll see how that goes. But Danny, let's set it up with March Madness. I mean, first two rounds done. What have been your biggest takeaways?
Um, okay, well, biggest takeaway is that you really don't know what to expect. It's been a crazy tournament. Seen Purdue and U of A go down that quickly. I feel like we both thought that they were going to be frauds heading into this tournament, but for them to go down that quickly, that was definitely a surprise. Biggest takeaway though, I think it's Alabama's to lose coming out of that conference. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared with um, the bracket right now, so I don't have it pulled up right in front of me. But let me pull that up real quick. Do you have the bracket, Kate? Who do they have? Yeah, they got to go through SDSU, who can't really score a bucket. They looked good against Furman, and then Creighton is probably going to beat Princeton, who took down Missouri after they beat U of A. And I think Alabama's path to the Final Four is pretty locked up. Um, I think they can take care of Creighton, who looked really good against Baylor, but I wasn't really scared of Baylor. Suspect defense, and Creighton's been up and down all year. Interested to see how much Alabama will be favored over Creighton. Probably pretty close, but I like them getting to the Final Four. And then other than that, I mean, if we're looking at the East bracket, where Purdue goes down, uh, who just went down? Marquette just went down to Michigan State this year. The East is a total toss up, and I kind of like Michigan State and Tom Izzo. I know that they just took down Marquette. Tom Izzo, I think 16 wins, or 16 upset wins in March Madness, and something I didn't really take into account too much when I was filling out my bracket was kind of rolling with um, just veteran coaches, because in this tournament there's a lot of first year head coaches. We saw Shaka Smart first year at Marquette, but he's flamed out in Texas in years past. And he just got out coached earlier this afternoon. So I kind of like Michigan State to go on a little run, taking down Kansas State and then taking down the winner of FAU and Tennessee, Cade.
Yeah, I like that take. Just a little experience going a long way here. Yeah, I mean, first off, to emphasize what you said, you really have no clue what to expect. Second, 16 seed to win in the round of 64, obviously, since UMBC back when they beat Virginia. Princeton, Arizona, this is the second year in a row that we've seen 15 seed advance to the Sweet 16. You saw that with St. Peter's last year. This year, it's obviously Princeton. In general, I mean, the one thing that I take a look at is that, I mean, I like your take on veteran coaching getting teams a long way. I will say I don't have Michigan State going farther than I. I don't know. I like them against Kansas State, maybe. I don't like them against Tennessee. I'll take Tennessee over them right now. I think Tennessee is going to have their hands full with FAU. That's going to help them get better for that Elite Eight matchup. I also want to go down to the West. You have Arkansas, UConn. I think that could be a toss-up. Arkansas playing really good basketball recently. There's a chance that they could really make a push for a Final Four. Same thing with UConn with Dan Hurley. A lot of really good talent just in that game itself. And I'll actually be willing to say whoever wins that game goes to the Final Four out of the West. You look at some of the other things. I mean, Xavier looks really good. I think they're going to give Texas a lot of trouble. I don't see them having any issue getting into the Elite Eight. I think they can beat Texas. Houston, they looked a little shaky against Auburn. Auburn's been a really good team. Bruce Pearl's a great coach there. At the same time, though, I think I think Houston's going to handle Miami. I think they're going to have themselves quite a matchup in that Elite Eight matchup, whether it is Texas or Xavier. And then going back to the South, I think Alabama's going to run away with that one. I think at this point, it's not even a fact of getting to the Final Four. I think, kind of emphasizing what you said, this is Alabama's tournament to lose at this point. I think they're the best team. They're playing the best basketball, dominating teams out there. I got Alabama all the way at this point.
Well, hold on. UCLA Gonzaga this Thursday, little revenge game. I'm super excited for that. If we're talking paths, UCLA's path, if they get past Gonzaga, winner of UConn Arkansas, and I think Arkansas can pull off an upset. I would not be surprised. You match up UCLA with Arkansas, their path doesn't look too shabby either. I had to sneak in a little UCLA talk, Kade. The only thing that concerns me is they got their center back Bona, who did not look too good against Northwestern, and their wing defender that replaced Jalen Clark, Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, Singleton. He's a solid wing defender. I thought he would fill in fine. He actually sprained his ankle in that Northwestern game and played on it sprained. So I'm hoping he's going to be good to go against Gonzaga. But if he's going to be good to go, I like their chances against Gonzaga. They're going to be fired up. Bailey's kind of getting into a rhythm. And I really like UCLA's path to the Final Four. I'm going to stick with my picks, Kade. UCLA, Bama championship.
Okay, yeah, that's not terrible. I can't go disagree with that. I think they're going to run into a lot. Whoever wins against Gonzaga, UCLA, I think they're going to run into a lot of issues with Arkansas or UConn. I mean, you can put any matchup there, and I think it's a coin flip. Arkansas played really good basketball against Kansas. They're going on a little run right now. Obviously, if Arkansas beats UConn after having that opportunity to beat Kansas in the round of 32, that's enough to show me that I think they can make a run at the Elite Eight or at the Final Four, possibly the national championship, depending who they're matched up out of the Midwest. I mean, you saw it a few years back with Auburn making it to the national championship. It was a team that a lot of people really weren't expecting to get as far as they were in the tournament. I don't think a lot of people were really expecting them to be in the tournament. Strong favorites in the SEC that season, but they made a really nice run. I think they're the 5 seed, so a little bit higher up, but still a nice run. Did a great job with it. And I think you can see that kind of same story with Arkansas, where they can make a push for the national championship, losing the national championship, but a push for the national championship. So I think the West is going to be the one that everybody has their eyes on. I think that's going to be the most fun. I think you look at the South as the one that's most locked up with Alabama. And then with the East and Midwest, I think a lot of matchups are going to come down to the Elite Eight, what looks really good there and what looks really exciting there. Like, I mean, between Tennessee, Kansas State, Michigan State, Houston, Xavier, Texas, Miami, all those teams, all really good-looking teams, but I think those are still kind of – people are watching those because there could be upsets there that are a bit of a surprise, but it's still be good basketball no matter what.
In the okay, you kind of convinced me, Kade. The West is actually kind of a dogfight. UCLA's path is not going to be easy. You're right. Arkansas, UConn, winner of that, that's going to be a tough match to get to the Final Four, actually. Looking at just how well UConn played, they got a big guy, Sagaro, I think that's how you say his last name, who is kind of unguardable. And I'm kind of hoping UCLA gets matched up with Arkansas in the West because UCLA struggles with size, big bodies down low. So I'm gonna be rooting for Arkansas definitely in that Arkansas UConn game. Even though I got UConn in one of my Final Fours, but it's all good.
I think honestly that's a team that I think can win the national championship still. I think
UConn,
if they can get to the Final Four, if they can get to the Final Four, they're going to play really tough basketball. They're going to find a way to get to the national championship. I don't think they're beating a team like Alabama. Alabama looks way too good right now. But yeah, I could see UConn in the national championship game. I think there's a chance that they can get at least to the national championship at this point. Again, it's hard to bet against Alabama at all right now, but UConn looks good.
Any other takeaways? Any other teams you want to touch on?
I think I'm good. I think I covered the biggest parts. Going to the bracket challenge though, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but one of the ESPN fans accounts, I forget, the ones that just have the uh, what's it called? It's not the actual username or like the name of itself. It's just some random username with the ESPN basketball. I'll just show you. You can kind of see
Yeah,
it there. They're
I know what
leading.
you mean.
Austin's in second. Ben's in third. Yeah, looking good so far. I mean, I wonder who that person first is. Obviously, with the opportunity to come on the show, I mean, maybe somebody like Austin or Ben will kind of pull through late. Maybe somebody that's already at the way bottom will pull through late. You never know. But like I said, that's going to be fun to kind of work around over the next few weeks, seeing who comes out in front there and who we're going to have on the show for a little bit in the future.
Oh yeah. Also, I didn't really get to make fun of U of A too much, Kate. You're still U of A fan, or are mostly ASU now?
I mean, I follow them, but I'm not like big on the team.
All right,
I'm
never mind.
bigger on their football team than I am their basketball team.
Okay, that's surprising.
Yeah, I mean, like their basketball team, they're always going to be good. They're always going to let people down and whatever, whether it's going to be the round of 32, 64 round or Elite Eight, they're always going to be a letdown. So this was like, I usually have, it's a consistent thing where I usually have Arizona winning the national championship every year. This is the first year where I really looked at it and I was like, I don't think they're winning it at all. I mean, they might go to the Elite Eight, they might go to the Final Four. That's the ceiling for that team. I didn't really see them going much farther than that, and they didn't even make it past the round of 64, so can't go wrong there. I mean, also real quick, shout out to ASU playing TCU really strong back in the round of 64. Had a great game against Nevada. You were on the fence about them against Nevada, and they shot the lights out, and then they played a great game against TCU. I mean, I think they would have lost that game against Gonzaga, but if they were able to get to the round of 32, that would have been a big one for ASU itself. So
you convinced me to change my pick to Nevada. And Kate, I was talking to some people, some ASU fans, and it seems like they want Bobby Hurley to stay around. I don't know what your take is on this, but 0-4 in March Madness games that aren't the first four. He's been here, I think, 6 or 7 years. He hasn't been able to recruit at a high level, and even the guys that he's been recruiting, he hasn't really been able to develop them into efficient scorers, I guess, or like the guys that he does recruit, his 3 stars, 4 stars. I don't know what DJ Horn is. I mean, they still run a clanky offense. I know they shot the lights out in the tournament, but season long, I haven't been impressed. So I think it's time for ASU to move off Hurley.
I don't know. I think give it like another season. I think they're still trying to just kind of get back into the full swing of things after COVID, because they were at before COVID. It looked like they were kind of developing a pretty solid program. So I think give it another year. If you see ASU in the same position and there's another coach that might be out there that might be a really good fit for the school, then move in that direction. But I mean, I don't think there's any rush here at this point. I don't think there's going to be a coach that ASU can go get out right now that they can bring in and make instant changes to where you're seeing ASU playing the Sweet 16 next year.
Hey, who knows?
So
maybe that FDU coach.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, with that mentality, you can do anything, especially at a D1 Power 5 school. So, no, I get that. But that's all I got for March Madness talk. Anything you got?
No, I'm good. We can talk some NBA now.
All right, for sure. Let's hit Dillon Brooks first. Obviously, over this past week, receiving a $35,000 fine for shoving a cameraman in Miami. I mean, we've seen the quotes that come out saying that when he was back at Oregon, he wishes he could be a player like Draymond Green, like kind of running the floor like Draymond Green. And then now you see him in the NBA playing for the Grizzlies. He's like, yeah, I hate Draymond. Like, he's my least favorite player, all that stuff. And then he did have the 1-game suspension for getting a 16th technical earlier this year. I mean, I feel like the question is, how dirty is Dillon Brooks? I feel like he's kind of almost taken that role as one of the top dirty players in the NBA right now. Almost.
I don't know about dirty.
Tie this back.
I feel like dirty is unfair. What if we say villain?
Okay. Villain. Okay, I like that. Villain, I think, is a better way. I don't know. I think, but then again, you look at some of the things he does. I mean, pushing a cameraman. Like, I don't know if that's really that's. I guess not dirty. But you're right. But like, it's definitely pretty messed up if you ask me.
Oh yeah, no, that was uncalled for.
Yeah,
I don't know. I hate Dillon Brooks. I can't stand this dude. Coming out of Oregon. I love Oregon players that come out of Oregon. Even as a UCLA fan, my uncle went to Oregon. I follow Oregon. I root for their teams. I guess they're like my number 2 team. Peyton Pritchard, Duarte. They've had some solid players, and I thought Dillon Brooks was another one of those guys. Wing defender, can shoot the three, but he's embraced this villain role where it's like, is he even good enough to be, talking this smack, doing this villain stuff? I know the Grizzlies are third in the in the West now. They had a good season last year. They built on that this year. John Morant stuff is happening. So they've lost a couple games here and there. But I don't know. I just don't. I can't stand this Grizzly team. They talk like they've won already. Clay's always holding up the four rings whenever they lose to the Grizzlies. But yeah, I think it's time. I don't know. I just can't stand this dude, Kade. What's your take on this?
First off, I'll say just in general, the Grizzlies, thank God they're one of the most hated teams right now because that puts all the pressure off the Suns. I feel like they went from being one of the most hated teams to now Memphis taking the cake there. Dillon Brooks in general, I mean, we see that the NBA is becoming a more physical sport, in my opinion. Obviously, you have refs getting into the mix a lot now these days, but I think when you talk physicality, it's becoming a little more physical here and there each game. But with Dillon Brooks in particular, I mean, I'll even just say right now, we've talked about it significantly. No veteran leadership on this team, very little veteran leadership on this team. And I think you can't even necessarily just label this to directly Dillon Brooks. You've seen him take a lot of like flack and stuff, especially recently with the cameraman debacle, the 1 game suspended for 16 technical, all that. But I mean, you look at this entire team, and you can make the argument that this team is just a villain team. I mean, back in that same game I think it was the same game against Miami, Desmond Bane was ejected for taking a cheap shot at Kevin Love, which again, you can look at the video, you can make your own opinions. I don't know if it's really a cheap shot or not, but he definitely took a shot at Kevin Love. You have John Morant, who, I mean, we've already talked about John Morant on this show, how much he's done, especially for his own look over the past few weeks. Overall, I mean, this team is just a very, very hard team to get behind. If you're not a Memphis fan, you hate everybody on this team. And I mean, this is a perfect example of a team that, as you mentioned, went out there, started talking like they already won everything. I mean, we all remember John Morant's quote about how he's not scared of anybody in the West. He's scared of Boston right now and getting to the a win in the NBA Finals. There are bigger things to fry up now, considering how much this team has fallen off since that quote came out, and how much of lack of, I don't want to say chemistry, but a lack of real leadership, real discipline is on this team. I mean, that's going to be the downfall of this team. If they remain the third seed, I would not be surprised if they go out in the first round, especially one thing, if they end up going down in the series or having a bad game and it's tied or something like that, I could see that being the complete downfall of this team when the playoffs come around.
And when we'll get into some of that playoff talk in a little bit, right, Kade? I don't know if that's a good transition in, but I think I'm done talking to Dillon Brooks. If you want to move on to the next topic.
Yeah, all I'll say just to kind of finish up with Dillon Brooks is that, I mean, we've talked about it. We've seen this happen in the past. We've seen dirty players. Zaza Pachulia in the past labeled as dirty. You can make the Draymond Green back in 2016 taking the cheap shots there labeled as dirty. I mean, you kind of talk about those big things. Now, of course, those were all happening in the playoffs. We don't know what's going to happen yet in the playoffs for this Memphis Grizzlies team. But I think just in general, you look at the way that this is kind of falling out right now, it's not a great look. They're going to be labeled as those villains, that dirty team. I'll be completely honest. I'll even go far enough to say I think this. I mean, if Chris Jenkins has been in the conversation, or Taylor Jenkins has been in the conversation for possible Coach of the Year finalist, I think this eliminates any possibility that's happening, despite the fact that they're still playing good basketball. So that's my final say on this. Dillon Brooks, this entire team, not a fan at all.
All right, what we got next?
Yeah, okay. So we're going to talk about some of the playoff talk a little bit. Still a few games out, still a few weeks out. Just starting to wind down, though. And as you can see that, if you check out any of the standings, 3 teams are in the playoffs. They've locked their spot. If I remember correctly, it's the Bucks, it's the Celtics, and it's the Nuggets at this point. I'd have to recheck one more time just to make sure nothing else got added to that. I know the 76ers are right there. I mean, you could probably just make the argument that they're locked in right now anyways. But we'll stick to the 3 that I know are locked in. And that is going to be the Bucks, that's going to be the Celtics, and that's going to be the Nuggets. And of course, we're going to talk if they're pretenders or contenders. I mean, I think you can make the argument for, even though it's 3, you can make the argument for some of these teams that they might be pretenders. You can make the argument here that they might be contenders. Danny, we'll just kind of go down the list. We'll start in the East. Go
Sure.
with the Milwaukee Bucks. Do you think this team is a pretending team, or do you think this team is a contending team? And I think we both got the same answer for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is locked and loaded. I think both of our preseason pick to make it to the finals, I picked them to win it. I think you picked them to lose, if I remember correctly, or you might have picked the Celtics.
No, I picked I went with the Bucks losing.
Okay, yeah. So both picked the Bucks, and I don't see how these are not the top contenders coming out of the East. Just top to bottom, the best defense in the league, and it's not even like that they're just the best defense. They can guard every position on the court at the highest level, by far. If they're matched up against the Celtics, they can guard the Celtics, who have the best wings in the East. If they're matched up against the Sixers, they can throw bodies at Joel Embiid, who's a force down low, because they got Giannis, and they not only do they have Giannis, they have Brook Lopez, who's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year, leading the league in blocks. And it's the other thing about Brook Lopez, which I've just fallen in love with recently. It's like this guy, he's not going to get played off the court because he can move and he can shoot the 3. If they're matched up against, if they need to stop some, guards, if they're matched up against the Cavs, maybe with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, Grayson Allen is a solid defender. I'm sorry, and they still got Drew Holiday locking up there, who can guard wings as well. Top to bottom, I really love this roster. They just added Jay Crowder, who's kind of getting into the mix. 6 games with double-digit threes, so. He's just reminding people that, hey, he can still shoot the 3. Joe Ingles off the bench has been good for them. I'm expecting them to ramp up Jay Crowder's minutes as the season progresses. I know he played a season high against your Suns, and he dropped a couple threes in that game. But for me, Bucks by far locked in contenders in the East.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's hard to go against this team right now. I'll even go far enough to say I think you can go far enough to not just call them contenders, but call them possibly the lock in the East as the Eastern Conference Finals champions, and even go far enough to say that they, I think, have a good chance to win the NBA Finals once again. We obviously said that last year when they played the Celtics in the second round, lost to them, but it's so hard to go against this team right now. They're playing such good basketball. I just can't go against this team. I can't go against this team. So I agree. I think they're contenders. I will say I do think Jaren Jackson still has a better chance of winning Defensive Player of the Year, but can't go against Lopez. Giannis, I think I also will go far enough to say that I think this team's success relies so heavily on how often Giannis is able to go to the line. But even with something like that, I don't really see that changing up much. And he's still going to get to the line as often as he does. He's still going to get the foul calls. He's still going to make his free throws. And that's going to be the biggest indicator on how this team plays in the playoffs. If he doesn't get to the line, there's games where he struggles here and there. That's going to be a big red flag for this team. But they're just such a complete, well-built team. Giannis is playing his best basketball. I think you could make the argument that there's a good chance he'll win MVP this year, seeing the way he's playing basketball. And it's hard to go against the Bucks as true contenders here. Now, of course, switching over to the other team in the East that has had, or who has, what's the word for it? It was clinched their playoff spot, this Boston Celtics. Danny, what's your thought on them?
Boston Celtics, I mean, how are they not contenders? Come playoff time, you want the best wings. I mean, wings can do it all. They can guard, they can get to the rim, shoot. And that's what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can do. We saw them last year going on a run, taking down the Bucks, Heat. I forgot who they got matched up in the first round. But they got a little bit lucky last year with Chris Middleton going down in that Milwaukee series. And I think that it still took them 7 games. But this year, Tatum's been on a mission, averaging 30 points per game. I didn't see that out of him. And Jaylen Brown, 26. I like them as the second best team in the East, but I still don't see them stopping Giannis come playoff time in a 7-game series. They really don't got the bodies. Robert Williams is nice, but Joe Mazzulla, he's done a great job filling in as an interim head coach. Did they extend him, Kade? Do you remember if they extended him?
Yeah, they gave him the extension.
Yeah, okay, so they gave him the extension. We still haven't seen him come playoff time. Come playoff time, it's matchups, it's tight lineups. And right now, Joe's got a deep lineup. I'm looking at just minutes per game: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They got 7 players playing over 24 minutes per game, and they got a handful. They like Hauser, they got Pritchard, Griffin, Blake Griffin. Those guys play 15 minutes per game. So he's gonna have to lock in and figure out these rotations and lineups come playoff time. And I don't know, I just haven't seen him yet in a playoff series yet. So I'm gonna say contenders, but I do have my doubts.
Yeah, I can see that. I like the part they did mention how you have your doubts, because I'm in that same position. I think they can go out there. I think they can win an NBA Finals this year, but I do have very serious doubts about this team. I made the comparison a few shows back, how it does kind of feel like they're in this position where they kind of feel like this Phoenix Suns from last year, where they went out there, had a really good regular season, but they don't seem like a team that's complete enough to really be to make that deep run and to get a surprise knockout in the second round. One of the things that you mentioned is
Ooh, I don't know
obviously
about a surprise knockout. I don't. No, that's not happening.
okay. So because you did agree with me on that last show, but I'm good if
Really.
you take that back.
Oh,
Yeah, you
if they
did,
get matched up
or
with
at
the
least
Heat, if they get matched up with the Heat.
okay. I could see that too. Yeah, but
Okay.
I think they. This is a team that I feel like in general has the possibility of being a little bit of a surprise by playoff time. Again, we haven't seen Missoula with true playoff experience. This is a team that, again, really just had that a lot going for them during the regular season. I think that they can kind of not stumble into the postseason, but find themselves in a position where they're not playing their strongest basketball by the time the postseason comes around. But I will even go far enough to say, you mentioned it again. Maybe this is the same episode. Can't be. I could be wrong, but I think a lot of this also relies on how good Derek White plays. We talked about it when Marcus Smart was out, how Derek White was taking over those minutes, and he was playing really good basketball when he was taking over Marcus Smart's minutes. When Marcus Smart comes back, if you can expect that same level of productivity out of Derek White coming off the bench, this is going to be a team that I think is going to be incredibly hard to beat, just especially with how deep that bench is. You still got Malcolm Brogdon on the bench. Al Horford's coming off the bench, right? I'd assume so. Danny, you
Al
still?
Horford, he's starting. Al Horford's starting. It's Malcolm
Okay,
Brogdon.
that's right. That's right. Okay, yeah, that's right. But yeah, overall, just in general, I think this is a team that they weirdly kind of got that experience in the regular season that's needed. That if it works out in their favor, they can be one of the best playoff teams this season. But again, there's some big ifs there, some big concerns. Joe Mazzulla's first time as a head coach. This team just in general, I feel like putting a lot of energy into this regular season, similar to what the Phoenix Suns did last year. I just think I'll say yes, they are contenders. I just think just in general, though, they have a little bit more that they kind of have to prove before I truly believe that they're going to be the true favorites for the NBA Finals.
Okay, we got a couple of things in the chat if you want to go over them real quick. And also, I pulled up Derek White's stats during Marcus Smart's time when he was out as a starting point guard. Derek White, who can kind of run like a point forward almost, 17 points per game, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. So, hey, just be aware of playoff Derek White if that's what the Celtics need. Good point on that.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. All right, so I'm gonna hit Austin's real quick. Light the beam, go Kings, screw Dillon Brooks. Hey, if it comes down to it, Danny might have to go out to Sacramento to see the beam in person.
Hey, my UCLA Bruins lit up the beam a couple nights ago, Austin. That was pretty cool. I like that. I like that blue better than that purple, I gotta say.
All right, I'm gonna hit this one though. I think the NBA needs people like Dillon Brooks. They need people like Dillon Brooks so that we can point our fingers at him and say he's the bad guy. As weird as it sounds, like I said, I kind of made that comparison to Draymond Green back during the playoffs in 2015 and 2016, or mainly 2016. But I kind of agree with that. I feel like that we kind of do have to have a guy that we can all point our finger at. First off, I think you look at a place like NBA Twitter, that helps a lot because it's one of the most toxic places on the internet, and that NBA Twitter. If we all have a guy that we can go over and say, hey, I hate this guy, don't like him at all, helps a lot with just, I think, everybody enjoying their Twitter experience a lot more. But even then, I just think in general, I agree with that. And I think if you were a team like the Memphis Grizzlies or a fan of the Memphis Grizzlies, you have to look at this and say, hey, we're the bad guys. Might as well embrace this as much as possible so that we can go into the Western Conference playoffs and just make a mess out of everything. I mean, just go out there, play your best basketball while just kind of taking that villain role. So I kind of agree with that. I think that I agree. I think that there has to be a player that everybody can point their fingers at, and it's kind of jumped around here and there.
Yeah, no, I kind of like this take. The NBA kind of needs this, right? I mean, everyone, all the old heads like to clown on the NBA because it's so soft now, and players are so friendly. And Dillon Brooks, he's accepted that villain role, and it's fit well with this a young Grizzlies team. A bunch of young guys. You talked about earlier how they really don't have too much veteran leadership other than Steven Adams. But Steven Adams, he's been in the league for a while, but he's really I think he's only 29. So, I mean, you can count that as young, I guess. Adam Cameron up in the check. Kings are contenders, 11-2 since the break, 7-game roads win streak, and amazing chemistry. Also the best offense in NBA history. Kade, it's taken me all year to say this, but I think the Kings are contenders, right? I'll say this.
I don't agree.
You don't agree? I'm gonna say they're contenders just because this. The regular season has to matter for something, right? Because if the Kings get bounced in the first round, I feel like this has been brewing over the past couple of years where it's like load management, walking through the regular season. But the Kings are trying. They're trying their hardest this regular season. They're the 2 seed. They're gonna have the first winning season in 16 years, first playoff or ending their playoff drought for the first time in 16 years. Adam, best road record in the NBA. Come playoff time, that's gonna matter, right? They're gonna win against I think they're matched up with right now. Yeah, they're matched up with the Warriors. They're matched up with the Warriors, who the Warriors are going to have to win games at home because they can't win games on the road. And give me De'Aaron Fox, most clutch points in the league, 5.5 points per game on 58% shooting in clutch time. Hey, Kings fans, I'm sorry. He's a top 50 player in the league because he's become a superstar. He should have been an all-star. He's making a case for an all NBA team. And I hate how the Kings don't play too much defense, but if they can shoot the rock like this, they have the chemistry. I like the Kings, Kade. Maybe not contending to win it all, but I could definitely see them going on a run because the Mavs haven't figured it out. The Warriors haven't figured it out. The Clippers are kind of figuring it out. I think 4-game winning streak now. They look pretty good against Russell Westbrook. Suns, KD's hurt. And then, the teams competing for play-in teams. You're not scared of the Thunder. You're not scared of the Timberwolves. Lakers, I think they're contenders, but they're not healthy yet. If you're just looking down, even the Grizzlies are dealing with their issues. If you're just looking down the list, I would say the 3 safest teams to contend, I got the Nuggets, I got the Kings, and I think I got the Clippers just because, those teams are playing the best right now, and they've looked the best all season. So I feel like that has to matter for something.
So here's what I'll say about that real quick. Sacramento, I agree. I think they're a great team. I think that they have I don't know if I can say they're contenders for a finals run. I think they can definitely make some noise here in the playoffs. The thing I've got an issue with, though, is that if they do end up playing Golden State in the first round, you're right. Golden State isn't going to go out there and get wins on the road. There's a good chance that Golden State loses that series. But if Golden State goes back to their roots and plays the defense they did last year that got them that NBA Finals, you're talking about a very slowed down Kings team that, again, they could maybe possibly beat them, but I'm not sure if they're going to have a lot of success against them. And then even then, if you win in the second round, you're going to be playing the winner of I want to say it's the 5. Let me think about this. I know my bad. 6 winner of 3, I think.
Yeah, winner of 3-6. Yeah, Grizzlies, Mavs.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'll say if they can win the first round, I think they have a good chance of making to the Western Conference Finals. That's where I'll leave it at.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely see them going on a Western Conference Finals run. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Sabonis has been balling out, all-star. Keegan Murray stepped up. Malik Monk, I mean, did he drop 40 a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that.
So, I mean, they got the guys to score. I I'm just looking at all these teams in the West, and the West is stacked talent-wise, but all these teams have flaws. Kings have flaws too. I mean, they don't play too much defense. I mean, what's the stat I've said countless times? They've held opponents to under 100 points twice all regular season. I don't even know how that's possible. But if they're scoring 150 points per game, like Adam said, what did he say? Best offense in NBA history, statistically speaking. You got Mike Brown, who spent time with the Warriors as an assistant coach. He knows how to build culture. He knows how to win playoff series. He's done it before. Give me the Kings on definitely a dark horse. Is it like, can I say dark horse to go to make the finals as a 2 seed? It's funny how I'm saying dark horse for the Kings, the 2 seed in the West.
Yeah, I think you could still say dark horse, at least for the conference finals. I still don't think a lot of people have their hopes high on them. I will say there's got to be an asterisk on that Malik Monk game. It was 45 points, but it was in that 3 overtime game against the Clippers. So I don't know how strong of a 45-point game that was, but still good basketball. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think this team can make noise. I just don't know how far it's going to be before they're finally silenced. But Danny, do you want to head over or at least real quick talk about the Nuggets to try to wrap this up? And then obviously we'll talk a little bit of fashion and whatnot. The Nuggets obviously have one of the possible MVP finalists in Jokic. They're number 1 in the West. They're playing really good basketball. As you mentioned, one of the more complete teams in the league. Danny, I think we, again, both agree here. What do you think, though?
Okay, I'm going to say it. Pretenders.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I'm not sure. I'll say I don't. I'm kind of on the fence about both about the Nuggets, and I'm on the fence about them. I think they can go both ways, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I think the Nuggets can definitely, if they're matched up, they're going to get past the first round. I'm sure if the Lakers don't get that 8 seed, I think if the Lakers get that 8 seed, I definitely could see the Lakers bouncing the Nuggets. I don't know when's the last time an 8 seed took down a 1K. Do you know? Like, I don't even know if that's happened recently.
It may have been that Warriors team.
That Warriors team, was it?
Team.
They took down the Spurs. Was it the Spurs a couple years back? I'm not too sure. But other than that, I'm like the Nuggets haven't looked good recently. Since March 8th, they're dead last in defensive efficiency, 18th overall in defensive efficiency. They're 19th in rebounds, so they don't really rebound well. They don't play too much defense. I still think Jokic is a liability defensively late in games, especially matched up against bigs. So I think the Lakers, if the Lakers get matched up with the Nuggets, that's a nightmare matchup for Denver, because there's not too many dominant bigs out the West. Where the Lakers can definitely expose Jokic. We've seen them do it before in playoff series in the past. Like, they took down the Nuggets easily, I think in 5 games on their path to the ring in 2020. But just, leaning on a big guy like Jokic in the playoffs is just something that, I don't know, guard play kind of takes over come playoff time. And Jamal Murray, I've been a huge fan of Jamal Murray. I got him right here. When Kade told me what 3 players do I want above me, I said I want Jamal, I want LeBron, and JT. But come playoff time, they're gonna have to trust Jamal Murray to hit big shots late in the fourth quarter, because I don't know, Jokic, I think he's gonna be on that list with 3 MVPs and no rings.
I could see that. Real quick, going back to it, the last time it happened was in 2011. The Grizzlies beat the Spurs, and 8 Grizzlies beat the number 1 Spurs. Yeah, I don't know. I think this team, you could make the argument that they're definitely pretenders. I think by the time you come to the playoffs, you could make the argument that this team looks very similar to what the last year's 6 seed Dallas or Denver Nuggets team looked like. I'm not sold on the way that this team. I mean, they're playing really good basketball right now. Yes, I'm just not completely sold on how good this team is going to be able to perform by the time the playoffs come around, especially when you're playing games as consistently. Jokic is going to have to stay healthy the entire time. More importantly, Jamal Murray and MPJ are going to have to stay healthy the entire time. Jamal Murray playing good basketball, I think you can get a lot more out of him, I think, by the time the playoffs come around, especially in that second round, depending if they have to play the Clippers or the Suns. If that's how the bracket kind of plays out, if they do have to play the Clippers or the Suns in the second round, that's going to be a very difficult matchup for that for the Nuggets team. Especially, I think if they have to play the Clippers, I think their defense is going to be a much better stop against somebody like Jokic compared to a Suns team who's just going to try beating you on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, I don't see this team making it to the NBA Finals. I think you can make the argument I don't see
I
this
don't
team
know.
making it to the Western Conference Finals.
Okay. It's tough for me because um I'm calling them pretenders because I don't think they can beat the top three teams out of the East. I think they can get to the finals, but if they get matched up against the Celtics, the Bucks or the Sixers and out of the East, I'll even throw the no, I'm not gonna throw the Cavs in. I don't see them beating those three teams. But I mean, it's just tough because this roster is so complete top to bottom. I don't like how they traded Bones Highland for nothing to the Clippers, but I mean, they picked up Reggie Jackson, who's he's been a solid player for the Clippers. I don't see why he won't help them out. I'm sure come playoff time, there's gonna be a 25-point Reggie Jackson game. I'm gonna call it now. I love Bruce Brown, KCP. I mean, they got a solid roster. It's just I'm just scared leaning on Jokic come playoff time, late in games, get a bucket. I don't know what's his conditioning going to be like. Is he going to get bullied by AD? That's really what I'm getting down at. If they get matched up with the Lakers, I just don't like them in that series in particular. I don't really like them against the Grizzlies too. I think the Grizzlies can give the Nuggets some trouble as well. I mean, Grizzlies got to figure out their own problems as well too. But that's my take. That's where I'm at with the Nuggets right now. I think they got the Bucks in a couple days. I'm gonna be Saturday night, I believe. So I'm definitely gonna be watching that game. That'll show me a lot. See what the Nuggets how they perform against the Bucks. The most complete two of the most complete teams in the NBA.
Yeah, what I'll say is I think the Nuggets are playing some of the best basketball right now, but I think when
Well,
a
not
lot of
right
the
now.
teams, especially
This
well, yeah,
season.
okay,
This
maybe not right
season.
now. Yeah, this season. That's good for clarification. But I think but if you take a look at the way that if you talk about each team's ceiling when it comes to their best performances and best basketball they can play, I think the Nuggets are right there, right around 3 and 4 in the West. I think there are teams that can easily beat them if they're playing their best basketball. And in the playoffs, if you want to win, you have to play your best basketball. So I think you're going to see some team come out there. They're going to do that, and they're going to get a big upset over the Bucks. Or not the Bucks, the Nuggets early on. I think second round. I think the Western Conference semifinals is when you can possibly expect that, especially out of a 1 seed. So that's what my take on that one. So I'll go with that one. I'll go pretenders. Again, even borderline on the Celtics as pretenders, in my opinion. But yeah, we'll see how things go. Danny, you got anything else to hit on for this?
I don't think so.
All right. So for the first time in a while, we're going back to fit of the week. Danny, you got to clean it up right now because what you're sitting at 9 and 4, or I'm sitting at 9 and 4. If you're 4 and 9, you're 5 games back. Danny, you got something here, or do you want me to go first?
You go first. I'm still looking.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna go with Nas Reed, going with the. I think the fit on this varsity jacket looks really good. Goes well with the pants he's rocking with. I think he's going with. I can't tell. That might be a pair of Louis Vuitton sneakers at the bottom. The Air Max or the AirPod Maxes right there. Nas Reed, he's my pick. I think he's an easy pick for me.
First time on the show. Welcome to the show, Nazrid, right? I think so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, first time.
Okay. Man, there's some pretty good fits out here, Kade. This is kind of tough for me. I'm gonna go with someone. Because our fashion segment might be if we might not even have time. This is kind of a longer show than I thought. I'm gonna go with Russell Westbrook
quickly, but
okay. Russell Westbrook. I'm gonna transition into our segment. We're gonna talk about summer accessories, and in this fit, Russell Westbrook. I don't know if my webcam is gonna pick it up. There you go. He's rocking a bucket hat. It's summertime. Time to experience with the bucket hats. He got chains, watch. I'm not too familiar with this brand he's rocking on, Freedom, but he's got corduroy pants on, red corduroy pants. Kate, you got any corduroys?
No, I've been meaning to pick up some though.
Yeah, same. So I don't have any corduroys. I can't tell what shoes he's wearing. It looks like he's wearing some sort of Air Force One down low with some purple accents. So, just with the accessories, I like how Westbrook put together the fit. Westbrook knows how to dress when he's not getting all crazy.
Oh, I agree 100%. But yeah, as usual, Instagram, Twitter is where we're going to have our fit of the week matchup. Head over to there, vote on that, who you think had the better fit. Again, I can't give you a set timetable on when we're going to have that out, but it will be at some point this week. And of course, if you haven't voted on what you think should be the punishment by the end of the year, make sure you reach out to us. We put out a tweet.
Hey,
There's something on Instagram.
throw me
We got to
some
get
votes.
something
I
together.
need some help.
Hey, we'll have to see how it goes. I don't even know if you might not even have enough time to come back. This might be the deal breaker right here.
I think so. I
Yeah,
don't think. Yeah, we might be able to
I'll
end the
say,
competition early.
yeah, I think way earlier than last year. But all right, let's hit the best accessories right now. Going into summertime, it's warming up. I feel like this is the time where you again start leaning into the more comfortable clothing, a little bit more loose, a little bit more not so obviously lengthy or whatnot. So it's a time where you can really start experimenting with what accessories you can go out there with and what really works out well. Danny, for you in particular, you got anything that you think is going to be a big step up this time around?
For me, I think bandanas are gonna be the thing, Cade. I know you don't got the long hair, but I kind of like the bandana with the long hair look. That's what I've been rocking, a little bit here. But I think bandanas are, a simple accessory. Switch it up from a hat. I love my hats. I probably got like too many. I don't wear enough hats, but bandana is something that you can switch up. What's that thing that ASAP Rocky wears? The babushkas. That's another thing if you want to get
Oh
really
yeah,
experimental. Those things look really cool. I don't have a pair. I don't know if I have the fit to wear a babushka yet. But
no,
that's
I
something
get
else
that.
that looks really cool come summertime. But first thing I'll throw out there is bandanas, babushkas, hats, something up top. Because unfortunately it's not beanie season anymore.
No, I get that. I'll kind of go on a similar trend, or not trend, but similar tone, just a little bit different. You talked about with Russell Westbrook. I think bucket hats might make a really big comeback this year. I think that you can kind of see them working with a little bit more of the work fits and whatnot. I know that Carhartt's putting out a few. There's some really good, nice corduroy ones out there. I think just in general, bucket hats are going to make a little bit of a bounce back and switch it up from the the fitteds and the other dad hats that we've seen pretty recently. Made their splash. I mean, those are fitteds might go away. Dad hats are never going to go away. But I think this year you're going to see a lot more bucket hats, especially when it comes to just that summertime look, that beach look, going out and like being outdoorsy. I think it's going to come down to the bucket hat.
Okay, cool. AK, another accessory I've been kind of meaning to pick up, but I just don't like spending money like that. But I kind of want to get a watch. I don't know if you have any watches. I don't know. I feel like watches would look cool, add some flair to your outfits. I just saw what Russell Westbrook, he was rocking a watch. You can get a pretty nice looking watch for $100. I don't know if you've experimented too much with watches, but I never really got into them. So that's another accessory that kind of just level up your outfit. If you a little bit dressier. Who's the dirtiest? We're not even talking NBA.
Okay, hold on. I gotta. Oh, Jesus, yeah, no, we're done with that one. You gotta watch the replay of the show if you want to get the answer for that one. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that one though. I think watch. That's actually what I was going to say next to. I was going to go with watches. I don't think you're going to get a lot of more. I think you're going to see people stray away from the more classic look. I think you're going to get people a little bit more of an outdoor rugged look. Like, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I found this one in the mailroom today, so it's not even mine, but I kind of took it up as mine. But like something like this, like that digital face, like kind of like weird sportsy, outdoorsy. I think that could be a look for this upcoming summer season. Something that's not that kind of sets outside that traditional look on what people see watches as and goes a little bit more unique, a little bit more different. Something that's way more out there than the typical like Rolexes, Omegas, all that everybody wears on a consistent basis nowadays. So yeah, I like watches. I think that could be a really big hit. But I think I'm going to go take yours one step further and go with something a little bit more out there. Again, like I said, like the more sportsier, more unique looking watches.
Okay. Hey, and I'll answer that question. I think Grayson Allen's the dirtiest player in the NBA. Kid. Do you have another player that comes to mind?
When talking dirty, I mean, it's hard to go against Draymond, but that's just because of his history. Right now, though, I don't know if I mean, yeah, I guess it just depends on what your definition of dirty is, because I can't really think of anybody big right now outside of Dillon Brooks or maybe just that Grizzlies team in general. Danny, for accessories, you got anything else, though?
I don't think so.
I know. I'm trying to think of at least one other. I mean,
Okay.
if you want to kind of throw I'm gonna say if you want to throw it in there, I know they've been big in the past. I think they can make a really big push this time. I think just in general, anything with your hands is going to be a pretty big selling point here. But I'm gonna go take it one step further. I don't even think it's gonna be hands. I think it's gonna be feet, not feet. That sounds weird. But like ankle
Huh?
bracelets or something like that. I think you
Okay.
might. I think weirdly, I don't know. There's nothing trending in this direction. I think ankle bracelets are going to be a big thing in the future for guys and girls. I think they're going to have some really weird statement pieces where, like, obviously, again, I feel like during the summer, people not really going with the high top socks anymore. They're kind of doing no shows more often, or at least going with fits that could work with no shows. I think you can definitely see some form of ankle bracelet, something around the ankle that really stands out. As an accessory is something that could be jumping in depending on, again, it depends on the fit, depending on the way you're going to work
Yeah,
with it. But I think
I
ankle
like that.
bracelets, I was also going to say rings possibly, but those have kind of been around for a while. I also feel like they kind of fit more of a winter narrative more than a summer narrative, but I think you can still get away with it depending on the colors, the shapes, the designs, all of that. It'd be a little bit more of a slimmer look, in my opinion. You wouldn't want to go for anything more bulky that I think a lot of people tend to lean towards. Again, that's something, but that's something that I feel like you really see more in the winter. So
Yeah, AK.
I decided to not go with rings, but yeah, I'll go with like ankle bracelets.
Yeah, no, I like that. We've seen how the past year or so, Yeezy slides, foam runners, um, Birks have really popped off. Like just not sandals, but like uh, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for?
I just say
It's
like leisure shoes.
leisure shoes have really popped up, and I think an ankle bracelet, it's a good way to kind of just give your outfit another little spice. I might be copping one. I'm starting to wear my Birks now that it's warming up outside and about. Dogs are out. What can I say? So I might be buying an ankle bracelet soon. Actually, yeah, good point on
I'll
that.
say I gotta find something good, but I definitely rock something like that. Danny, you got anything else to end the show on?
I don't think so. Tuesday, Jordan 4s. I'm gonna be up at 7 a.m. I'm throwing
Which
it out there. I'm
Jordan?
throwing it out.
Hold on, let me
I
check
need
these.
these.
Which
I
Jordan
need
fours are
these
those?
SB Jordan 4s are coming out Tuesday.
Oh, I know you're talking. Okay, okay. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of them. Like, they're not terrible, but they're not. I
I
don't
just
know. I'm
don't
just
like
not a
the
huge
gum
fan.
bottoms. I love everything else besides the gum bottoms.
Yeah, no, I like the colors. I think that almost cream top or cream upper looks really good. Hey, real quick, did you see how you know how the next Nocta Nike release, how they're going with swim fins?
No,
Like
send me
yeah,
the.
they're making swim fins. Yeah, no, I got you. That might be something we'll have to talk about on a future show. Just because I mean that's out that's this is the first time I've seen anything like this, but I think it's a weird. It's cool. I mean, obviously I don't think they're meant to be worn around, but
Hey,
it's weird how
pulling
Nike
up to
started to
the
kind of
pool in
expand.
some Nocta swim fins. That's kind of a flex.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit that is a little bit of a flex. But yeah, no, I don't know. Well, we might have to dip into sneakers next time for sure, though, because I feel like we got past a pretty big wave of some good stuff. I don't think anything's going to really pop up that's going to be really big or really fun until I'd say end of May, but we'll see about that. All right, but if that's it, once again, with you guys so much for joining us today. Make sure you head over to the social medias to vote for Fit of the Week. That'll be Instagram and Twitter. And of course, just stay in touch. Let us know what you think the punishment should be at the end of the semester. We'll see y'all next week. Have a great week, guys.